Okay. So Geo Institute is a philanthropic initiative founded on the personal pledge and commitment of Mr. and Mrs. Ambani. They believe in the power of Indian youth and want to dedicate the rest of their lives for empowering them to achieve their dreams and contribute to nation building. At heart, Mrs. Ambani believes in the power of education and holistic development through academics, sports, and arts to ignite the young minds and achieve their potential. Reliance is India's largest private sector organization with businesses across oil and gas, retail, digital services, media and entertainment, among others. And Reliance Foundation is one of the largest CSR programs in India and has impacted millions of people through its initiative in education, healthcare, sports for development, and rural transformation. Geo Institute is envisaged to create a platform for strengthening research and innovation ecosystem of India. Geo Institute will focus on solving the problems of India and solving them fast. The institute will also take up global challenges in due course to make the world a better place. Geo Institute is committed to prepare next generation of entrepreneurs and leaders and advancement of Indian society. Geo Institute, with the help of its Reliance Industry Network, has constituted a governing board council having members from diverse backgrounds with experiences in institute and enterprise development. Governing Council provides strategic direction to develop Geo Institute as a world-class university. Along with the members of the family, we have eminent figures from various backgrounds like Chancellor Dr. R.A. Mashelkar, our Vice Chancellor Dr. Deepak Jain, and Dr. Khosla from academia, Dr. Patel from architecture, Sri Vikram Mehta and Jalaj Dani from industry, and Sri Venkatraman from social sector. Geo Institute has also constituted a global advisory council having renowned thought leaders and institutional builders from research universities. The global advisory council guides the institute on building a strong foundation of academic excellence, industry relevance, and social significance. Our Global Advisory Council consists of Dr. John Lu Shamu, who is the president at Emeritus Caltech. Then we have Dr. Shax, who is the director of Center for Sustainable Development, Columbia University. And Dr. Suresh, who is president at NTU Singapore, and Dr. Levin, who is president at Emeritus Yale. Geo Institute is led by our foremost research leaders of Indian origin and with global repute. Dr. Mashelkar, the Chancellor of Geo Institute, has led CSIR for years and has received highest civilian awards like Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan. Dr. Deepak Jain, our Vice Chancellor, is a leading management thinker and administrator who has led management institutions across USA, Europe, Southeast Asia, and China. He has also received Pravasi Bharatiya Sanman for his contribution to nation building. Dr. Ravi Chandran, our provost, is a leading global researcher who joins us from Caltech. Geo Institute has its 15-year strategic plan already in place, which is divided in 3 phases: startup phase, growth phase, and maturity phase. We are currently in our startup phase where we are focusing on launching a postgraduate program, PhD and postdoctoral program. The reason is so we would want to establish a strong foundation of research, and we call these programs as seed programs, which will be converted into full-fledged schools in the later phases. In the growth phase, we will be expanding these schools, and in the maturity phase, we will focus on launching remaining schools, specialized and interdisciplinary academic programs. Geo Institute is offering 1-year full-time residential programs in 4 areas of artificial intelligence and data science, digital media and marketing communication, sports management, and journalism, which are delivered by world-class faculty from renowned institutions across the globe through futuristic curriculum. In addition to core and elective courses, Geo Institute will also impart training in new age skills such as design thinking, communication, and leadership. We also provide scholarship to facilitate merit-based admissions. We partnered with NTU Singapore, University of Toronto, Canada, UC San Diego, and University of Manchester, UK, wherein our students had got an opportunity to experience global education. Recently, our student had gone to NTU Singapore as part of the study abroad module. So before we move ahead, we would like you to listen from our student, Ms. Angela Grace, who is our digital media and marketing communication student in the present program.
For me to become a truly global citizen, I think the faculty here, the world-renowned professors that we have, is really tremendous and something that not everyone gets to experience. Geo Institute for me was a way for me to become a truly global citizen. I think the faculty here, the world-renowned professors that we have, is really tremendous and something that not everyone gets to experience. The hostel facilities are also out of this world. Everything has been so great. The people here are so welcoming, and that's so comforting, especially from an international student standpoint. Being from South Africa, I'm used to being around a warm and inviting environment, and so Geo Institute has been perfect in that regard.
Eligibility criteria for digital media and marketing communication is an undergraduate degree in any discipline with minimum 50% or equivalent CGPA, a valid GRE or GMAT score, or if at all it is not possible, they can appear for a Geo Institute entrance exam. Freshers can apply and preference shall be given to candidates with relevant experience of 18 months or more as on June 1st, 2023. The application process is the student will have to go online and submit the application form. When they go on the website, they can see there is an apply now button, clicking on which will open the application form. They can submit the valid GRE, GMAT score or appear for JET and submit that score. And after shortlisting, they can appear for an interview. So after completing this application process, the candidate is eligible for the program at Geo Institute. Now, since we have the experts with us today, I would now like to hand over the forum to Cleston D'Souza, and we can talk in detail about the digital media and marketing communication programs with the faculty.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Cleston DeCosta, and I'm the program manager for the digital media and marketing communications. Thank you, Dipti, for bringing us thus far. And what we're going to talk about largely with the faculty today is everything that belongs to this curriculum, why this program exists, what you could do with this program, where does it take you from here on, what kind of careers exist out there in the media, what kind of careers are there for students, right? And then we'll conclude by some advice that panelists can give us today. Okay, so let's begin with speaking something about this program. The program is a year-long program, which is broken down into 4 quarters, which has 2 terms each. This goes on from the core courses in the first 2 quarters, and then we move on to the last 2 quarters, which is based on electives, is where you get to choose what subjects you want to learn. So the core courses are based in a way you may have not come traditionally with a background in advertising, media, and digital communication, but the core courses will acquaint you all to what kind of subjects or what kind of varieties that are available in the digital media and marketing communications field. So anyone who's not come with familiarity to that will be familiarized to all these subjects and all these courses. So you need not come with a BMM degree or something. You're welcome to come from anywhere. In fact, we have encouraged and we have a lot of diversity and a lot of people who want to get into the media. So the first 2 quarters are the base, as I said. The first 2 quarters are base. All right. So you'll have subjects like marketing in a digital age. What are consumer insights? How do you mine consumer insights? What is media economics? What is the landscape of media? How does the money work there? Then you go on to something like quantitative methods in the next quarter. Right? You go to quantitative methods. Then you will learn something about strategic marketing communication, strategic brand management. And then you move on to electives like creative brand building. Now, advertising, media communications largely has two sides. One is when you work on the agency side, and one is when you work on the corporate side. So the subjects prepare you for both. There's something like creative brand building, where largely agency and creativity driven. There's content creation and storytelling that works for every field today. Then there is something called media planning and buying, which is a elective that everyone should know today, right? Because digital media planning is also the next big thing. You'll have then in the next, you have something like managing products or product management, as you want to call it. You'll have business analytics, you'll have digital media metrics and analytics, you'll have digital and social media communication. So there's an eclectic mix of every kind of subject, but it's not just rooted in traditional. A lot of it is a holistic, and it is also modern take on everything that you need to know, everything that is happening next. So we talk about metaverse, we talk about generative AI, we talk a lot about other disciplines that exist in there, right? And so now let's move on to what kind of where does this course exist and why does it need to exist? So I would like to ask my panelists by one, why do you think that we still need a course like this? Right? What is the relevance of a course like this in today's day? I'd like to begin with Dr. Sethuraman, please.
Good morning to you. Sorry, good evening to you and good morning to
Dr.
myself.
Sethuraman, I don't think we can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Okay, maybe I should come closer to the microphone. So as I was saying, good evening to you all and good morning to myself. It's about 12-hour, 10.5-hour differential here. It's about 8:30 a.m. in the morning, but I am happy to do what it takes to meet you all potential students of Geo Institute. My name is, as Cleston said, is Raj Sethuraman. I'm a professor at Southern Methodist University in Dallas here in Texas. And I'm also a visiting faculty at Geo Institute. I was there last year in November of 2022 to teach quantitative methods. And that's where I met Cleston and a few others. And my experience was an absolute delight. So I would definitely come again, both for the people and the students and the course curriculum. So today I'm supposed to talk about what I teach and why it is important. As Cleston was mentioning, in the second, there is a core curriculum, and the purpose of the core curriculum is to build a foundation on the field that you are about to graduate in this case, digital marketing and marketing communication. And then you decide which area you want to take by taking the electives, which you want to pursue by taking the electives, and then go from there to get a career. So I teach in the core module. So I come in about the second quarter and I teach quantitative methods, partly because I was groomed into that course by the Vice Chancellor Deepak Jain, who has been my mentor. He was the Dean of Kellogg School at Northwestern University when he was not the Dean, he was a professor. And then he later on became the Dean when I was a student. So I learned marketing research from him. So he asked me if I could teach that course or a similar course at Geo Institute, and I was happy to do that. And I also know other people who are now the program coordinators at Geo Institute for that part of the DMMC program. So they asked me to teach a course called Quantitative Methods, which I did last year. And so the course I'm going to talk about is quantitative methods that I have taught at Geo Institute and will be teaching again, and why it is important, what it contains, etc. It also dovetails with a book I am writing called Working with Data in Marketing. So I have taught marketing research for nearly 15 years, and then I switched on to data-based customer insights for 7 years. And over this time, I've found data to be very important. No matter what the field is, whether it is digital marketing, regular marketing, political science, psychology, everywhere, data is everywhere, and it is being leveraged. The person who leverages it the best is a person who is going to make things profitable. So with that view, I started writing the book, Working with Data in Marketing. It is a follow-up to a book that I have just written called Thinking with Data in Marketing, which is a little bit more non-technical. So when I teach a Geo Institute, it's a little bit more technical. Even though I call it technical, the idea is to make people familiar and comfortable with data. So just as an aside, I was listening to a radio station called NPR or KERA in Dallas yesterday. And for the first time, we have proven the Pythagoras theorem. Everybody knows about Pythagorean theorem, which is the sides of a right angle triangle, the sum of the squares is equal to the square of the hypotenuse, which is a squared plus b squared equal to c squared. And it has not been proven for all. Pythagoras introduced that theorem. It has not been proven for nearly 20 years. And for the first time, a bunch of high school students in South Carolina, at least they claim they have proven that trigonometrically. And so when the radio person, MC, was introducing that, she said, oh, they have proven A2 plus B2 equals C2. That is, she even did not know that 2, power to the 2 is called squared. So I was just amused by it. This is a side story to say that our first purpose is to make you comfortable with data. Speak the data language, because mathematics is a universal language. That is the only universal language. We may speak French, Chinese, Hindi, Tamil, which I do, English here and stuff. But one language that is universal across the world is mathematics. The second reason is to make you not only familiar, but comfortable doing simple numbers. Let me give you another example. We ran an Indian-based program, yes, on Saturday. Usually we do it on Saturday. And we have to give 10% of all that we sell. And we sold samosas and chai for $5. And we sold 75 combo units. And so I said 75 times 5 is 375. We have to pay 10% commission to the theater. So this girl was saying, oh, wait. She took out her calculator and computed 75 times 5. Oh, 375, correct. So I said, okay, 10% is 3750. I said, oh, wait. I have to compute 375 times 0.1, took out her computer, calculator and computed that. Then I said, oh, you also have to pay to the caterer 10%. I said 37.5 times 2 is 75. I said, wait, 37.52 times 2. So I'm not trying to make fun. It is that, and that thought is somewhat ingrained in the Indian diaspora, that we are able to talk mathematics language like we talk English or any other colloquial language. So I want you to be familiar with data, comfortable with data. And the third thing is to know that data is omnipresent and omnipotent. That means omnipresent is data is everywhere. Omnipotent is it can do a lot of things. It cannot do a few things, but it can do a lot of things. So I want you to understand some simple techniques for leveraging data so that you can make better decisions in the particular field that you have chosen, which is digital marketing. So I will have several examples. I use a technique called learning box. So there will be about 50 or 60 or 100 learning boxes, about 8 or 10 learning boxes per chapter, and there will be about 12 chapters. And all of this is intended to cover the various popular types of data that are available out there and how it can be leveraged to help with making digital marketing decisions. So, and that is useful no matter what career within digital marketing you pursue, whether you're in media planning, whether in advertising creation, whether it's in budget decision, whether you're in brand management, consumer insights, whatever the field you choose to pursue, I believe it will be useful. So I'm happy to be able to teach that course, to impart that knowledge to students at Geo Institute. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sethuraman. Next, I'd like to call upon Dominic D'Souza, sir. And he taught a core course, a very important one. It's called Media Ethics and Policy. Now, I can't begin to state how important this course is and how interesting Professor Dominic made it. One of the most well-attended courses, and he makes it jargon-free and helps you understand law through storytelling. So, Professor D'Souza, if you could tell us a little about your course and how it fits into the whole spectrum.
Thanks, Cleston. Good morning, Dr. Raj and the other panelists. And a very good evening to everyone else participating online. Well, I think Cleston has said it pretty much in a nutshell. So being a lawyer and being in the media for over 2 decades has been an absolute advantage which I've had in order to story tell the law which is there. And I'm sure when you normally hear of a topic like media law, ethics, and policy, the first thing which comes to mind is why am I even doing it? And I think one of the main reasons why I think anyone should be doing it is so that you don't need a lawyer once you start working. So the entire module which we have worked upon, which we've sat down, discussed, analyzed, is something wherein we've tried to understand how does a digital world operate in or within the parameters of law. So while we also study about the existing law, potential future law, another huge element of this media law course which we do is that pertains to potential revenues, potential ideation, because there is an entire chunk which is dedicated to intellectual property rights. The module has been interactive, and we've also had students presenting certain case laws whereby we analyze certain situations, certain cases, certain judgments in India and worldwide, for the students to get not only an Indian perspective, but also a perspective which is global, because ultimately in the digital domain, you are talking about a world without borders, a world without boundaries. You are looking at policy from a perspective of a governmental policy, from an industry policy, from a point of an individual stakeholder or a contributor policy. The course is a blend of all of this. The sessions have been extremely fun. For the students, you'll need to ask them, but for me, it was absolutely fun. It was also a learning and challenging for all of us, actually, because of the dynamism in the media world itself. The digital world keeps evolving, keeps changing. And as a result of which, we've had a constant flow, a constant evolutionary process in terms of thought, processes, policy, laws, etc. I happen to be a visiting faculty in a few other institutes, and there is one thing which has nothing to do with media law and ethics or policy. And if I may say, this is perhaps the first institute I have seen with absolute state-of-the-art equipment. I'm not talking about the facilities and amenities extended to the students. I'm not aware of those, but I'm sure they must be excellent. But the fact of the editing machines, the metaverse studios, the recording studios, it is absolutely state of the art. It's taken me aback because when you see the investment made by an institute for such kind of technology only kind of proves the point that they are extremely committed to education and offering it's absolutely mind-blowing equipment. I remember telling Cleston the very first time when I saw the equipment, I said, "You are kidding." With the amount of technology which is available there and the equipment there. Why is this course important? No guessing. Right now, this entire discussion is taking place digitally. And I think the digital world is here to stay, if not grow and evolve. The idea of such a course is how do we interact within such an evolving technology, such an evolving ecosystem, and such an evolving nation. A nation as a whole, the world as a whole, keeps evolving, changing, and that is one of the things which we've tried to cover in the portion which we've been talking about. In conclusion, if I may say, why should anyone join GEO? I think presently there's no other university which is offering not only the kind of courses, but the facilities, the amenities, and definitely the equipment for the hands-on knowledge anyone can acquire and will acquire during their education over there. Yeah, so to all of you all who are looking at joining or have joined, I think it's a good choice and absolute brilliant decision being made by you. Right, yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Next up, we go to Mr. Anurag Mishra, who teaches B2B marketing in this particular quarter. And he's doing it so well. He connects well with the students, makes it very interactive. And if I were to say B2B is simply understated, and Anurag Mishra makes it a delight for students to learn, and he's already getting such good feedback. So Anurag, sir, same question to you. How does a course like yours is relevant, and where does it fit into this ecosystem of digital media and marketing communications?
First of all, thank you, Cleston, for having me here and for your kind words. I have such august company with other fellow panelists. A very good morning to Dr. Raj, Mr. DeCosta, and all other fellow panelists. I think what I'd like to share is I've worked for a couple of former Fortune 10 companies, a telecom market leader, then worked on international non-profits as a chief marketing officer, etc. Having been teaching this course for last 6 years at a AACSP accredited institution, what I feel is that GEO is actually putting its investments really in the direction of very futuristic courses. The one advantage of being the third panelist speaker is that a lot of good points have already been shared by the other two. So I'll still try to add to what has been said. One piece is that as a practitioner and as a visiting faculty to one of the IIMs and one of the other possibly top 10 institutes in the country, I feel that GEO has very carefully chosen the specializations for students. Digital marketing has really taken off after the pandemic, and having looked at the industry earlier, when digital marketing was a bit slow in terms of the offtake, what I feel is that the students are actually getting on to the absolutely right bandwagon when it comes to digital marketing. In the course that I teach, I mean, I typically teach advanced marketing electives only, which is typically for second year students, or even in first 1 year programs, it's for the advanced electives. I feel that one, Geo has the Geo Institute has put in a lot of investments in terms of getting that right learning. And the learning has to be a mix of both the theory and the textbook, as well as the practical aspect of it, which is very, very critical when students get ready to be interviewed by industry and to be absorbed by the industry. And the idea is that I think when you look at digital marketing and artificial intelligence, these are really the focus in terms of marketing ahead. The course I teach, I think it clarifies to students also about why marketing is just not B2C marketing, or why marketing is just not Philip Kotler's marketing. Let me put it that way, because of course he's written the Bible of marketing. But also from a when we look at B2B, what's very important is that students actually have a very good peer-to-peer discussions and learnings about their own industry, their own functions. They come out with a lot of cross learnings that they have had. They contribute in terms of very good case studies, whether they be Harvard case studies or otherwise. The other piece is that when we look at business-to-business marketing, we look at how, in a practical sense, you look at almost 100x to 1000x to maybe 100,000x revenue than to a business to consumer kind of a context. And not saying that business to consumer is not important, it's very, very critical. But I think it's very important for them to be aware at this stage when they're learning on what are those mental models that they need to have. If when they get into the industry and they have to participate in RFPs, bids, reverse auctions, a lot of these things actually have a very direct impact on the revenue that a company makes. And having been on the revenue side, the B2B marketing side, or the B2B business development side, I feel that the focus in teaching is more about how do we bring out industry-specific cases, industry-specific use cases, and also about applying theory to business. It could be about how you use social media marketing, how you use LinkedIn, how you use Twitter, and just to kind of not only gain visibility and awareness, but also to find traction with B2B decision makers. Many of them you may find on LinkedIn. So one is that. Second is how do you look at pricing, for example? Pricing could mean you are actually doing reverse auctioneering, and you don't really have the time because in a technology context, you have 5 other competitors who are trying to win an RFP or a bid, which is maybe a multi-million-dollar bid. And when you just don't have the time and you have to take quick calls, what are those factors that drive profitability, that manage cost, and how do you kind of look at the technical speccing that the customer has done? So a lot of practical discussions about business to business. It's about also sales force management. It's about how processes are important in a B2B context, how relationships are very critical. In B2C, we already see a lot of utilitarian focus in terms of the quality of the product. But in B2B, it takes a lot of time to manage decision-making units or DMUs in large organizations. And typically B2C marketing is a specialist, is also a big field, but that may not be directly applied as is to a B2B side. And I'm saying that not only as a visiting faculty, but I'm also saying that as a practitioner. So I think students get a lot of edge if they have that awareness about how to build brands, how to build distribution networks, how do they work with consortium and say apply for large bids like smart city projects in India or global projects, and how do you work with partners, how do you take the lead, how do you follow in the lead, a lot of different permutations, combinations, very critical for students to learn before they step out in the marketplace. uh, so I think Geo is really, really, really very selective about the courses they're offering. And my sense is that these are really the skills that will be very critical in times ahead. And thank you, Cleston, for getting us in. And any questions are most welcome.
Thank you, Professor. So I'm going to move on to the next question, but before that, I'd like to highlight how you're meeting some of the best faculty from not just India, but across the world. You're also meeting not just academicians, but also industry practitioners who give you a real slice of life and how things work in the industry. And again, it's just not book knowledge. I've seen these faculty and I've seen how they bring real life experiences and keep you industry ready from day one, from the classroom itself. Right. Also, moving on to now, my next question would be, what kind of careers should students expect out there, and where can they begin once they graduate? Let's start with Professor D'Souza.
I think the world is available. It's especially since we are looking at a digital marketing course, digital media and marketing course. I think the world is a place where you could look at options. Gone are the days where you need to be physically present. Today you're talking about working remotely. It's here to stay. You're talking about a hybrid work option. Of course, you're also looking at a physical work option. But I think today, I would be wrong in saying this is the only way or this is the only job available. There are so many options available to people, to professionals. And I think as Mr. Anurag was saying, with the skill sets which they are going to be offered, I think it would be wrong to really restrict it to not to compartmentalize it. I think we are looking rather broad-based to that extent. That would be my viewpoint to that.
Thank you, sir. Professor Anurag, your thoughts on the kind of career students should expect?
I think, Justin, I kind of agree with what Professor D'Souza just mentioned. I think it's a very specialized, in times to come, being a generalist frankly doesn't really help too much. So rather than a general MBA, being very skilled on either digital marketing or artificial intelligence, these are things, it's been already mentioned earlier that, after the pandemic, a lot of business has moved on from traditional media, like, from TV, print, radio, out of home, to actually on the digital side for multiple reasons. One is that the cost of using digital media is much, much lesser than some of these, ATL activities or above the line activities that happen. Second piece is that, a lot of times the chief marketing officer would have a big headache in terms of how to kind of look at the ROI of investments in an organization. So when students are really getting trained on digital media, they're also getting trained on how to go out to the industry, how to explain, the use cases of digital marketing, how to explain, how the ROI comes in, whether it be cost per acquisition, whether it be looking at impressions, whether it be looking at, eyeballs. So and using Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Insta. So I think these, it's kind of a very clear thing as a trend and a pattern that digital media is here to stay. And with more of these artificial intelligence and chat GPTs and all that, I think the world is moving very fast towards the digital medium. The earlier the student trains themselves on this, the better it is. Otherwise, there are chances of getting obsolete, if I may say so.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Sethuruman, your thoughts?
So I'm from a different space or a different plan. So I'm here in the United States. So I can only speak more from what I think is generalistic. So I chaired the marketing department for 11 years between 2008 and 2019. And we were revamping the program just like you've started the program from last year. And we always worried about the placement potential as a basis for our curriculum development. And I did build one in 2010. That has become outdated. Now we are rebuilding that. And as part of that process, we are talking to a lot of potential employers. And my view is a little different than the conventional view that the students, especially in marketing, perhaps a little less so in finance, where the industry has caught up to the knowledge base in the student market or the university market, academic market, that the students should learn not only about what the companies do practice, but they should go beyond and learn about what the companies do not practice and can practice, and therefore for the betterment of theirs. So we have to be ahead of the curve in terms of employment in any business field, but especially in marketing. And Anurag raised that question of ChatGPT. For instance, ChatGPT has become so popular now as an AI tool, and Google is lagging behind with Bing, and its AI search engines are getting better. Maybe the only way that Bing can overtake Google as a search mechanism, search engine, is perhaps through AI. And so there is an AI war on ChatGPT, and there are people who think they can do better than ChatGPT. So we in academics are worried about whether ChatGPT will replace us, because people can write, or replace the student knowledge because people can write fairly good essays and stuff using the AI developed. And I saw one written on Mahatma Gandhi, and I thought ChatGPT did a better job describing Mahatma Gandhi than I can do myself. So it's advanced. So, but we are not worried, because the academics will not be affected as much. But while there are some bad sides to it, being that plagiarism and so forth, there are several good sides of ChatGPT or AI in general. So how can we as students, or how can the faculty teach people to learn AI or ChatGPT in such a way as to make it relevant and useful? So for instance, I visited last time when I was there, the Reliance Park, RCP, and I was amazed at the kind of work that they were doing there, and to help things that were pertinent, like agriculture, fishing. And so we have some unique uses, and digital marketing and digital deployment, including AI, can help in that process. So how do we teach students to do a better job of making this life? I'm going back to the original quote from the Ambanis, that we want to make life better and easier and more profitable for the companies and easier for the people, and they two are related, sustenance and so forth. So I think there is a lot of potential and value to education at Geo, both because of the academic connections, the corporate connections, and the ability for Reliance and Geo to better themselves in terms of applications. So that's a long-winded talk, but I'm impressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sethuruman. Of course, just to add to these, the kind of careers that exist out there are in consumer insights. So Post our course, you can get into consumer insights and strategy, you can get into digital marketing, you can get into product marketing. As one of the professors, the world is open for you right out there. So while we'll take some concluding question, I'd like to ask each of the panelists to give a piece of advice to all our students who are here today. Let's start with you, Professor Anurag.
I think my advice is clearly that students need to be very open to learning new technologies, looking at digital marketing, analytics, AI, and there are a lot of jobs that will be created in this line of business. There will be a lot of jobs that will be shelved in the traditional marketing arena. So if students are ready to take the plunge, they will be ahead of the curve from most of the other students in the pool in the industry who are trying to get a job as peers of them. So clearly, I think looking at not only the theory part, but also looking at how practically they kind of deploy this, and having those mental models to go out in the market and share how they can use this in the industry. I think that's very, very important.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Raj, your thoughts?
Oh, okay. So again, I, like Anurag, has been teaching at Southern Methodist University here in Dallas, Texas, as well as it has been my pleasure to teach at several institutes in India as well, at least 5 or 6 that I have covered I have had an academic career spanning over 30 years, so it's a long time. And I have been particularly pleased with geo students, not so much that they have wide knowledge, because we are here to impart knowledge, but for the enthusiasm with which they absorbed knowledge. And so they were passionate, they were interested. So I was very happy with the very first batch that I taught. And just to reiterate in terms of advice, I had just given a keynote talk to an Indian university for their graduation. So I will repeat that. We in marketing talk about the 4 Ps. So Anurag was mentioning Kotlerian marketing. Kotler was my advisor, my first advisor at Kellogg Northwestern. And he did not introduce the 4 Ps of marketing, which is product, price, place, promotion. He did introduce another acronym called STP, which is segmentation, targeting, and positioning. And all 7 are important. But in terms of the 4 Ps of marketing, I told them there is a 4 Ps of life that you have to pursue. And the first P is passion. You should have a passion. And the fact that I never thought I will be a teacher. 30 years ago when I joined, I would have laughed at anyone who thought I will be a teacher. But I am a teacher now for the last 30 years, and I absolutely love it. Won't do anything in my life. So I have a passion. So same way you should have a passion for marketing, and especially digital marketing, because it is both technical and it's not like accounting where someone will tell you what to do. You have to do it yourself. You have to get on the board and do it yourself. So you must have passion. The second is you should have perseverance. In marketing, in digital marketing, anything, when you do things, there will be failures. And we all learn from failures and make it a success. So you should keep trying again. You should not lose heart. And again, this is almost seems like a pulpit giving a sermon, but I feel that those are important. The third P is patience. You must have patience. There is a general tendency for youngsters, especially thinking, especially in the digital marketing field, which is growing and where the promotion opportunities are higher simply because it's a growth field. You shouldn't think, in 6 months, I want to be a VP, I want to be a director and stuff. There is a certain, of course, ambition is not bad. You must have ambition, but you should know that there are certain things that it takes its own time. And so you must have patience. And the last P is planning. You must have some plan as to what you want to do. And that includes setting your core courses, electives, and and deciding what career you want to pursue, because there are multiple careers within the digital marketing field that you can, that will suit your interests. So that's pretty much it that I wanted to impart to people. Overall, I love the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Situ. Lastly, let's hear from Professor Dominic.
I think most of the points have been covered, but if I may just add a slight Indian twist to some of it which has been said, is I think for a student, the hunger to know, the hunger to learn, the hunger to be inquisitive, the hunger to read, the hunger to find out about things, the hunger to question your faculty with good questions, of course, is, I think, should be the first and foremost thing. If there is a hunger to learn, to know more, and to open your mind, a lot of things really fall into place. So for me, that would be a very crucial factor, because if you're looking at joining a professional course like this, there has to be a kind of a dialogue between you, the faculty, wherein we both push each other to learn something more, to gain something more. There is a lot to be learned. And sometimes the more you say you know, the less you know. So I think that's something which should be paramount in my mind, or in the student's mind. Another element which is, I think, pretty important is being innovative, being different, being I won't say non-conformist, because it could be considered negatively, but definitely in terms of being innovative, looking out for ways for finding a solution. The solution is there. And I think all of us as faculty, we point towards a solution. We do not give a solution, because the solution is something you find yourself achieving and moving towards. But definitely the innovation, the thirst, the angst of knowing knowledge, I think is something which would help anyone and keep anyone in good stead in terms of it. So I think in addition to all of it, what has been said, if some of it is really considered by the students, I'm sure it's something which will help them as students, as professionals, and as citizens of the world. I think it's something which I think would help them and keep them in good stead in terms of this.
Thank you so much, Professor Dominic. Also, so students, you're allowed to put in your questions in the chat, and we'll have the faculty answer them. So a lot of wisdom coming out of our faculty, and you're going to benefit from learning from each of these faculty, right? So let's see if you have any questions in the chat now.
There is one question that I can see. Yes.
Sure.
By the way, I've learned 4 P's today in a very different manner. So thank you, Dr. Raj.
Oh, thank you. I went through it. It's a 45-minute talk. So I was trying to confine it to 5 minutes.
Okay, so there's a question that comes in: how is this program different from other programs offered in digital media and marketing field?
If everybody is okay, I mean, maybe I can just offer a couple of cents on this.
Sure.
So, Gurvinder, I think when you're looking at largely what happens is students look at how they're going to be placed, what is the career growth and career direction that they get from an MBA program. If you really look at the courses that are on offer, both digital marketing or artificial intelligence, they are clearly geared for the future. The marketing landscape is changing extremely fast, with Like Dr. Setu Raman was earlier mentioning about ChatGPT, or Mr. D'Souza was also mentioning about the legal aspects. It's going to be changing towards digital marketing, towards AI, towards ChatGPT. So, this course, it's not about the fact that, we're just saying it is better for the sake of it. But if you look at independently research this on Google and figure out digital spends for large organizations, for small and medium businesses, everywhere digital spends are going up exponentially. So clearly, if there are so much investments happening, that's where there's a demand for a lot of professionals in the industry, and therefore you could look at this program as being a very distinct and innovative advantage that will give to your CV.
Thank you so much, Professor. Also, just to add on, how is this different? Because we have a lot of hands-on learning. There is a lot of practical experiences, a lot of live projects going on every now and then. Also, the pedagogy is completely different from a lot of different institutes. You have exposure to a lot of international faculty, the kind of knowledge that they bring in. You learn how to deal at a very global scale. Yeah. Right. And also we have something like a study abroad program module. In fact, we just returned from Singapore about 2 to 3 days ago, where we are exposed to world-class learning. We had 2 courses, neuromarketing and neurosciences, and the other course was future customer experiences. And we learned from some of the best faculties, and the methodology of teaching was very hands-on. Right. So this sets it apart in many, many ways, that there is not just focus on classroom learning, but beyond the classroom, and staying true to the industry and being industry ready from day one.
If I may just add to this question, I think one of, in terms of the criteria, is 18 months or 15 months of experience, job experience. When you look at someone doing a course like this after having worked, in my view, carries a lot of sense, makes a lot of sense, because you've gone through the grind, you understand a few things, you understand your bottlenecks which you have faced professionally. And considering most of the faculty are faculty with vast experience in the corporate world, I think, easier or solutions are an option, are being provided. The other thing, again, I know I'm repeating and reiterating it, the technical, the equipment which is over there for hands-on assignments, hands-on projects, is one of the best, if not the best, for an educational institute. It's absolutely amazing. And I think from a student's learning perspective, and I'm saying it because I started my career in the dubbing department, so I have seen equipment. This is nothing like that. I'm not just talking about, it's not even present, it's futuristic to that extent. So by the time you finish your course, you're not only prepared for the present, but definitely for much ahead in terms of a timeline, in terms of that. So I think those are the reasons which I think, in my mind, there's no other institute which is offering both those reasons, actually, perhaps.
Professor D'Souza. Okay, so another question, how is this different from an MBA? Again, this is a 1-year program, but the key difference is the realistic close to industry subjects that we have, close to industry learning via faculty, and the pedagogies and the kind of projects that are offered. Also the kind of study abroad modules, again, that happen, a lot of capstone projects again, right? So that sets us apart, because we're doing something that the industry really wants. We have program advisory council, we have advisors from the industry who tell us what's trending and what our students should be learning. There's another question. The B schools are offering marketing roles, after which they can set it to marketing roles. Is this only a digital marketing course? No, it's not necessarily just a digital marketing course. It's digital marketing, marketing communication, and marketing overall also, because you have subjects like marketing in a digital age. And because these programs are very career specific, very role specific. So you are prepared to be in those particular positions, right, as soon as you hit the job market, because you've learned as a profession, not just as a student. The moment you come in here, we see you as a professional and not just as a student.
So let me add my personal experience or family experience indirectly to what there is always a question of whether if you do a digital marketing, you become a digital marketing specialist and therefore not really pursuing a marketing career. My daughter, who was in finance, switched to marketing. And she is a brand manager at General Mills now. It's a cereal company in Minneapolis. I asked her, no, don't you do digital marketing? She said, digital marketing, we don't even consider digital marketing as a separate field. It is intertwined in anything we do. We cannot escape digital marketing. So we don't say digital marketing and marketing. Marketing is digital marketing plus other things, what we used to call traditional marketing. So you cannot reach certain segments, whether B2B or B2C, without digital, social media or web. Or so digital marketing has become such an integral part of the overall marketing schema that we don't even try to differentiate that anymore. We don't say, oh, we are digital marketing specialists. Of course, the tools are such that we have to learn about these things so you can be experts in leveraging digital marketing for your marketing purpose. But the marketing, since I come from the Kotlerian days, marketing is basically reaching consumers and making consumers happy, and at the same time, being profitable or making money for yourself. And that has not changed. Many of the principles of marketing have not changed. The communication has not changed. The STP has not changed. The 4 Ps of marketing have not changed. None of the traditional marketing has changed. It is just that we have added on an additional tool thanks to the internet and web marketing and web development, that we have and social media, of course, that we have added an additional way to reach consumers more effectively and more persuasively if we do it right. So digital marketing to me is very much an integral part of marketing, brand management. Anything that you do, you cannot separate the two. That's it.
Thank you so much. So another interesting question. So will we have any kind of digital marketing related things when it comes to AI? Yes, we are beginning to realize that how much of AI is coming in, how much is going to even affect marketing. So we are going to talk about certain subjects like generative AI in the upcoming courses. We try to do workshops or / capsule formats whenever we realize that there's something new happening in the market. We try to keep ourselves and our students updated from time to time with these different courses. Rutuja, to answer your question, you have 4+ years of work in healthcare sector. Will it be a bad thing or it won't matter? Not necessarily a bad thing. There are many students who have wanted to make a switch and are actually moved on from their past careers and moving into new ones. So this course prepares you for that and makes you ready for the next challenges in your life. I think that's about it for now. So I think that's about it. So thank you so much, Dr. Sethuruman, for coming in today. Thank you, Professor Dominic D'Souza. Thank you, Professor Anurag Mishra. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. I'm sure a lot of questions by students have got answered. A lot of queries have been answered. And we look forward to seeing these students on our campus, and we look forward to you all teaching these students and making them ready for what the industry needs. Thank you so much, and good night from Geo Institute. Just like to repeat that the eligibility criteria for the DMMC course, you can have a GRE, GMAT, or we have our own Geo entrance test, which you can appear for. You need to have minimum 50% marks, or you have a CGPA healthy that's maintained. Come and visit us on campus. Sometimes you can come over the weekend on a Saturday and look at what the premises, come and talk to us. We'll be more than happy to welcome you here. Right? Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.